Hi, everybody. My name is Siobhan, and I enjoy all things beauty and fashion. And if you're here, then that means you saw my video and you want to be here. So, what we're doing today is the basics. So, I've been seeing a lot of videos and then also just getting a lot of questions from like friends and stuff like, you know, how much makeup do you have on? A lot. I have on a lot of makeup. We put on makeup over here. We don't. This is not a clean girl aesthetic, okay? If you are looking for a clean girl aesthetic, this ain't the place for you, okay? I say that with all true, dear and true love of my soul. So, today I'm going to show you guys what I use on my face, my base. The base to me is really important. I also want to do a really fun eyeshadow look. So, this may be like a two-part video of how I do my base. But starting, lips need to be together. So, this is the Edam and Lee Chochu. This is one of their holiday ones, I do believe. It's like a little gold shimmer thing going on. So, the first thing you always want to do is prime. Okay. We prime our skin around here, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you that you priming is going to depend on your skin type and making sure that you have good skincare practices. That is something I don't feel like enough newbies think about is their skin. Okay. If you would like a breakdown of my skincare and my recommendations for different skin types, then I can definitely do that. I'm dry, very dry skin. And today I'm feeling dry because I've been neglecting my skin and myself. So, bed rotting. So, today I'm going in with the Danessa Myricks Moisture Repair Balm Serum. If you are a oily girl, I would heavily suggest her Blurring Balm Powder in translucent if you're just looking for a really good primer. If you are a dry skin baddie like myself, or you live in just a really dry climate, and I just like to warm it up in my hands, like such, and just get it on my skin because I am very dry today. If you have oily or combo skin, I would really recommend her Blur and Balm powder. I currently don't have any. I had a mini last summer that I actually did use. If Seattle got a little hotter, I would probably use it a little bit more. Seattle just don't be getting hot. Oh no. Seattle to me just doesn't get hot enough for me to wear like super mattifying things, but I have dry skin. So make sure that you're using things that are going to be for your skin, your skincare needs, right? Especially when you're picking things like complexion. It is really important. Something else that's really important to me is color correcting. And I tend to start with this so that it can dry down and I can buff it out. So my other light decided it was gonna die. So we just gonna make it do what it do. I wanted a little bit more light, but this shall do. And then I like to start with eyes. You don't have to. You can start with your base first. I have watery eyes. They've gotten a lot better over time, but I do have watery eyes. And if you guys see me looking down, it's just I'm using my compact. I have watery eyes, and so I don't want to do all this work on my complexion just to go in and my eyes start to water. Like, I would be so mad if that was the case. So I personally don't, but teach their own. So I'm going to fill in my brow. I'm going to come back and show you how I did it. Okay, my brows, it's time for them to be waxed or razor, whichever one I decide to go do. So I just like to go in and just fill in my brows. I don't have some deep dramatic brow situation going on where I'm like changing the shape of my brows. That's just not me, I guess. I just go in and fill them in and then I'm going to carve them out. That's a personal preference, right? So I like to go in with the concealer. This is the Patrick Ta concealer, and I'm just going to go in and just out trace, and then you'll see me buff it out. And then I also like to use concealer on my eyelids as a primer for my eyeshadow. I feel like it just works better for me that way. And we'll just kind of go on about our business, folks. So it really depends on how you want to go about it, but I like doing my eyes first. And I also like cutting my brows out, buffing out the concealer. I feel like it gives my lids an opportunity to have some kind of prime to them. And my eyebrows, I can cut them if they're like a little overgrown and get that together. So we are now going to buff out, and this was the Caloray color correcting concealer. And I'm just going to buff this out. Now I am going in with a pretty high coverage concealer today. So I could have gone without this, but I'm trying to get into the habit of color correcting more for when I want to wear lighter weight concealers or concealers that are more medium buildable, because I do have dry skin. So that had been a problem for me, again, with having dry skin, has been just that. So if you have dry skin and that's been a problem for you, if you need to color correct, then color correct. Some people don't need to color correct under the eyes, and it's just fine. But I love this color correcting concealer. As you can see, it buffs out like a dream, and I just don't have any problems out of it. Okay, now we're going to buff this out and prime the lid. So I like to use my angled concealer brush, and I'm just going to go right up to the brow and just outline it. I drag a little and then I buff. So see that? See dragging? And I'm just doing it. You guys don't want to drag it all over the place. And I'm going to cut my brow a little bit, just like that. It's a little thicker than what I would normally do because, again, it is time to get them cleaned up. And then I just like to buff down on my lid, just like that. And then I'm going to buff up here, just like that. So you just want to buff it out like such. See how simple that is? And that way, now it's primed for eyeshadow, and then you can bring it in a little more. You will see me eventually take the excess and run it down the center of my nose a little bit. Or if I had any additional redness that I wanted to cover, I could. So that's just personal preference when it comes to doing your brows. So that is step one for me, is just kind of getting my face to where it's cohesive. I like my stuff to look cohesive. Some people don't like these extra steps. Personal preference. Okay. The best thing about fun eyeshadow looks is they're just that. They're fun. Okay. We're back after a quick hiatus. So I've buffed out the concealer on my eyes. And we're getting into the fun eyeshadow portion of this. Now, I'm still very new to makeup. So if it don't look perfect, please don't be like coming for my neck. It'll be greatly appreciated that I just, wanted to have a little bit of fun. And I don't need people out here about to, get loose with it over my makeup look. It's never that serious. So the main palette I'm going to be using today is the Zulu by Juvia's Place, and this is the color Story. I wanted to do a really fun makeup look with the shimmery like turquoise and green in this, and a pop of orange just in my inner corner, because I really wanted to do a really pretty like orange blush situation. So we're going to see how this looks. If I don't like the orange blush with this, or have the idea of the orange blush with this, then we won't do it. So currently, here, let me bring myself in. I feel like I'm not close enough. Oh, that's much better. All right, I'm starting off with the brown color. It's right here in the corner. And it doesn't give the names. I don't think she does that, Juvia's Place, with like names. But I'm just dipping in my crease and just going up a little. That's all I'm doing. Just kind of laying this color down. But it's all about having fun, y'all. Just have fun. Like, I don't understand why people overreact about, different makeup looks. So I'm just rocking this in the crease like such. And I'll be right back. Okay, I wasn't sure if I wanted to cover this up, the brown, but I decided that's what I wanted to do. So let me show you what I did. Because that's the whole point of us being here, is for me to show you what I did. Yay. So I'm going in with these 3 colors in the middle. So I started with this brown up here, just popping it in my crease and buffing it out a little bit. And then I'm using this as a base, this on top of that, and then this in the inner corner. The one thing I will always give Juvia's Place shadows is that they're very, very, very pigmented. Like, this is a really pigmented shadow, very pigmented. And I wanted to have more fun with the eyeshadow looks that I create, because it should be fun sometimes. Like, sometimes I don't want to do just the old boring brown. Like, sometimes I don't want to do something neutral. And since everybody is saying 2016 makeup is back, and I was in beauty school during 2016 makeup, and I wanted to be into makeup back then so bad, you guys. And I just was not good at it back then. It took me taking a class with a good girlfriend of mine who is a makeup artist, was a makeup artist with MAC. She worked at Sephora. She worked at a few different makeup counters. She was a professional makeup artist. She did makeup with bridal. So it took me taking a class with her right after Christmas of 2024 for me to say, okay, I'm ready now. Like, I'm ready to look the best that I know I can. And now when you guys see me wear makeup, it's just simply for fun. Just for fun. I just realized I did not put my mic back on. So I had started filming this video, and then my mic died. So, but it's supposed to be fun, y'all. And the moment that you're no longer having fun with it, why are we putting it on? That's just my thought process with things, is I just want to be able to have fun with what I'm doing. And if I'm not having fun, then why am I here? I'm also an art nerd, so I feel like that also helps with me feeling comfortable to do things. Like, I want to do things. I want to feel good about the things that I'm putting on my face and feeling pretty and just all the things, right? So I feel like those things are like retroactively important. I feel like I put more green on this side. And I'm just popping these shimmers in. I've been learning how to do like two-tone lids. Very soon you guys will see me attempt a cut crease. I'll probably just post that because I've never done one. So here we are. Just slowly having fun. I am going to do my bottom lash line once I finish my eye makeup. So let's clean this up and get everything cleaned up. Okay, got my makeup wipes. I like to clean up everything on my face. Personal preference. You don't have to do that. That's just what I like to do. Is just go in and just clean it up a little bit. Is it a necessity? No. Do I like to do it still? Yes. And I like cutting that on the corners and just cutting all that off and getting that guy out. Yep. Yes. So I'm going to pop on a lash, and then we're going to do the base, which is why y'all are here. Okay, and that is the end of this eyeshadow look, and then I will show you guys my finished look, because I know we like a finished look around these parts. Yes, ma'am. I feel like y'all can see the depths of my soul. Which is not a bad thing. We're here to do my base. So In the first part of this video, you guys saw me cut out my eyebrows and do all that fun stuff and do my color correcting. I like to do that before I do my eyes because my eyes do tend to water, so I did want to get that situation handled. So today we're talking all about the base. When people are like, do you have a lot of makeup on? Yes, I have a lot of makeup on. Don't have a little bit of makeup. We have a lot of makeup on our face. As you can see from my very bold, shimmery eyeshadow look. If y'all see me picking with this lashes because it's driving me insane. So the first thing you always want to start with is foundation. Your foundation, finish, and all the things are going to depend on what you like, okay? You can be a drugstore baddie. You could be a high-end baddie. You could be a midway baddie. It kind of doesn't matter. It's based off of your skin's preference and, you know, all of the things. So it's really going to depend on those things and how you want to go about it. So that's going to really depend on it. I am a dry skin baddie, okay? I tend to use more luminous foundations because that's what I like, okay? If you want it matte and you have dry or combo skin, a matte or satin finish foundation may be better for you, okay? I have other foundations that I enjoy, and we can just do it that way. So I'm using Patrick Ta. Again, I have dry skin and I like a luminous finish. Use whatever foundation that you want to use. If you're using a medium coverage foundation, do know that you may have to go in more than once. The whole point of foundation is to give you an even canvas in order to make sure that you have something completely even to work with, okay? And that's just kind of the whole point of foundation, is to cover redness, cover all the things. Now, you do this in layers, right? Not the foundation, the makeup. You have, and everybody does theirs in a different manner. There are a lot of people who underpaint. I underpaint more in the summertime because it does help me to use less makeup. But I feel like for beginners, it's easier to see that entire process from beginning to end. Now, is it a necessity for you if you want to learn underpainting? No, I think underpainting is something great to learn if that's something you have interest in, okay? And then I do know that this foundation will oxidize, so I look a little yellow right now. Give it a second. It does take a few minutes for this to oxidize out. Just making sure I got all the nooks and crannies, and of course my nose ring wants to stick out at the most inconvenient moments. Now, when you put on foundation, now I've given everything, it looks the same. It looks nice and plain Jane, right? The problem we're going to have going forward then is, if I just left it like this, I would look crazy, okay? It's too, there's no shadow. There's no shadow, there's no color, because you took everything and you made it all one color. This is where you need to go in and put the color back into your skin, okay? And the shadows and the flush and all the things. This is where your contouring and your concealing and blush and all that stuff is going to come in at. I'm using the LYS contour stick. I like a stick for beginning now because I used the curved case for like over a year, which I do like the curved case quite a bit. It's just now that I discovered the stick, I don't know if I'm ever going back, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you, because it's so easy. This is so easy. To me it is. And this is a really smooth stick. Like, she's smooth and gets the job done. I like to contour my nose. You don't have to. I feel like with the stick, contouring my nose is like super freaking easy. And I'm just here for all the shenanigans. I do not buff this out yet. I like to go and put my blush down. Because I use such bright neon-y colors, this does not need to be a bright blush moment. We do not need to overdo it with the blush, okay? I'm going in with Rare Beauty in the shade Believe. I was going to do a really bright orange blush with this look. I would look crazy. We're not going to do that. We're going to let the eyes be the main focal point of this. We just are. Don't nobody else got time for that. And I may end up using just a little more because this is going to sheer out quite a bit. And on my skin tone, I really like this. I have yellow and warm undertones. So sometimes stuff doesn't always look great with my undertones. This is not one of those things. I feel like this buffs out really, really nicely. I can't speak for other Rare Beauty blushes because this is the only one I currently own. I do want to get more from my collection from Rare Beauty. Now, I like to buff, see how sheer that's getting? I like to buff my blush pretty far up the face and pretty far up underneath the eye. So then I can control, like right up to the point where my contour sits. I like to be able to control the amount of blush, and I will also tell y'all that I do have blush blindness. You do not need this much blush. I just like a whole lot of blush, okay? And it's hard with this look. So I like the fact that this is gonna sheer out nicely for me, and I don't have to worry about it. Now we can buff out my contour. When you're buffing all of this out, whatever you put on cream-wise, you need to put on in powder to lock it in. I like to do around the hairline, and I buff my contour into my hairline. You will see me go back and with my foundation brush with just whatever is left on it, because see how dark the contrast that is? I need to blend those two together, okay? But I already knew that. So, and then I'm gonna take this up towards the ear. And then over here, I feel like this didn't, what is going on here? Okay. So I like to blend up. We're gonna blend up. And just again, blend it into my hairline. And then holding your brush, light taps, y'all. We don't need to harshly push this into the skin. Something my makeup artist friend taught me when I took her classes, you want to have a light touch with stuff. So that's what I want to have, y'all, is a light touch. A light touch. See that? Nice light touch. Let's buff this out and I'll be right back. So again, we're putting light back on the face. Now I can reinforce the shadows on my face, where everything sits at. I don't need my contour to come down this far. So this is just me taking whatever product is left on my foundation brush and just buffing it into my contour and giving them a nice place to meet at. Now, I do more of a bronzer. I don't use really cool shades on my skin. I would actually look really cascady sharp if I did that because, again, I have very, very warm undertones. So it comes down to personal preference. Now, with concealer, because I did go in and color correct today, I'm going to use the Patrick Ta concealer. A lot of times you guys will see me going with the Hourglass concealer. Personal preference. The good news with me color correcting is that's all the concealer I need. Once you let this Patrick Ta concealer dry down for a few moments, she buffs out real pretty. And so that's it. I don't need to overdo it. I'm a concealer baddie. I will over conceal my face. So let's give it a second and I'm going to show you guys how to buff it out. Okay, actually, while I'm waiting on this to dry, I am going to go in with my foundation brush because I don't need this to be super stark. I don't like a super stark. See how the shadow I just created by buffing that out? You want to create the lights and shadows, and then I'm just going to go in and tap in my concealer, and then we're just going to go back over. See how pretty that is? See over here though, it's not buffed out enough. So I just want to buff it out. There we go. Now my nose. This is to my preference. If you want a more snatch your nose and some more. Okay, I'm going to buff out this concealer. And so I like to tap the concealer, tap it in, do a little bit of swiping and tapping. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so this is my concealer brush. I really like this brush, you guys. I got it from Amazon. I think I've said that before. I need my mirror because I can't see nothing with these lights. So I like to tap. I want to do some nice light tapping. I do swipe at times. And I like to open my eyes up because I like to get right up in the crooks and crevices and crooks of this eye. And I'm just going to do some tapping. I'm going to tap this into where the blush is at, okay? I'm going to marry those two together here shortly. So we're just going to tap. See how that blended out? I will say the more I played with this Patrick Ta concealer, the more I really enjoy it. So let's do the other eye. Okay. So I got this pretty blended out. And as you can see, that brought the blush down a little bit, right? So now the blush isn't like so stark. So I like to go back in, I'm just looking for my blush brush, and then just tap and marry those two together. See that? That way I can control the amount of pigment I have. Just like that. This is nice and neutral. Don't feel like it's doing too much. I probably could have went in with something just a snatch warmer. And then if I wanted to dial this down even more, I could take my foundation brush and just tap on top of it, which I think I'm going to do, and just diffuse it just a little bit more. Because I still have to go over top of it with the cream. You see that added just a nice flush because my eyes have been the focal point, which I'm probably going to end up doing some kind of like nude lip. Probably going to do a nude lip. Anyway, so now that you've done it all with cream, you need to do it all with powder. So now we got to powder down, okay? Was looking for my other bronzer, but I think it's in the bathroom. So we're going to use the P. Louise one that I've been using the mirror out of. Going to use this bronzer. And we just want to go in and just lock it in, okay? We're just locking in the contour that I just did. And don't worry about the lines. I'm going to go in and diffuse them. So hold your horses. You just want to lock it all in. I like to go in just like that. And you'll see me do it again when I start putting powder on. So there's that. For blush, I am using Rare Beauty again in the color Divine. This is their matte bouncy blushes. I'm not gonna lie, I really like these a lot. Like, I'm really, really, really enjoying them quite a bit. Like, way more than I thought I would. And this, again, the color is Divine. This is so pretty. This is so friggin' pretty. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, that is so pretty. Let me just get right there. It's gonna drive me crazy. And my nose ring constantly hanging out. That also drives me insane. Now we're gonna go in with some of our powders. Now, I like a very baked under eye. I'm learning to step away from that ministry because it's not necessary. I don't need to constantly do the most with my under eye, right? So we're starting off first with the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfecting Setting Powder in the color Medium 3. This is for every place but my under eye, okay? So all the other places on my face that are going to need some powder, this is where we're going in to do that. And that's where you'll see me just diffuse that line between my contour and foundation. And I just like to take some of this like that, swirl it on the back of the bottom of the lid, and just go in and dust. Personal preference. Now, I am trying new techniques so that I'm not making my under eye look cakey, because I am the queen of doing that. And now that I know how to properly lay my concealer, I don't need to do all this extra, okay? It's not a necessity, and that had been the problem, is I was just doing too much. Take a lip on top of that to diffuse that down just a smudge. Just a little smidgen. There we go. So, I am going to go in with something new tonight. So normally, I have the MAC Studio Fix, the original, but as you can see, I got this tiny little bit of pan, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad about so one size is discontinuing this one as well, so it was just on sale. This is the One Size Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder. This is in the color Medium Dark 3. So we're going to try a new powder tonight, you guys. Because I'm just sad at just the talc-lessness of it all. Like, what's wrong with a little talc? So this is the color. And just to compare it to my regular powder. So they're virtually about the same color. But that MAC Studio Fix OG is the GOAT. This new powder, they could have kept that. I like to get a little bit on my puff and then tap a little bit on the back of my hand. Oh, that's a good powder. And then we're just going to tap. See that? We don't need to overdo it. We're just tapping. Oh, that's so pretty. Patrick, you're discontinuing this? Why? This is such a good price. Oh my God. Okay, y'all, I may need to buy a backup while they're still on sale. Oh my God. Oh, that's so pretty. That's so pretty. I'm gonna look up. Oh, she's stunning. Girl. Patrick, what are you doing to me? And you're discontinuing this? Why? Why? Oh, she's beautiful. Oh my God. I don't even really need no setting powder. I'm going to use some because that's what I do. But girl, I really didn't need it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Girl. Okay, now that I'm done being a dramatic Betty, Huda, in the color Kanafa. And this is one so I used to be out here baking and like doing the absolute most. I've learned that I don't need to do all that extra. And I just, again, on the back of the lid, take some. And I just tap it center of my hand like such. And then we just go and we set. And I usually set this up here as well, down the bridge of my nose. I do use a little bit excess because I do want to eventually just do a tiny bit of baking. But I'm not going to lie. That Patrick, that one size powder, baby, we didn't need nothing else. I ain't going to lie to y'all. I may need to buy one of those on backup. So I brought some colors out to do my lips. And now I don't think these lip colors is going to work. So let's take a look. I was going to do like an orangey nude, and I brought these two colors out in the lip syncs. Girl, they almost look the same. This is the color Sweetheart. And like, I feel like these colors are almost the same. Ooh, that was a little juicy because I haven't used these in a minute. So that's Sweetheart. And then this color is No Rules. And I feel like these are both really, I like No Rules a little better. Because I was going to do an orange blush and I decided against it. I mean, I'm happy I did that. But now I'm wondering, do I want to do like a full nude baddie lip? And I feel like I do. So give me a second. Okay, let's finish this up with the lip. So I found the lip sync I was looking for. We're going to be using Frappuccino Blend from Made by Mitchell. And then the gloss I'm going to be using is Stargirl. So we're just going to take off my lip balm. That's been sitting on my lips. Okay. So we're just taking her off. Like such. Okay. And before I do that, let me dust off this little bit of bake I have. Because I don't want it to set and settle into my face or into any lines on my face. We don't want that. So, and then this, it just didn't dry down the way I wanted it to. Friggin' lash, but it's okay. All right, let's get into these lips, shall we? I am going to be using my Made by Mitchell Curve Case in the color Deep. And I'm going to be going into the color Blend and Snatch. And I just want to do a quick line of my lips. And if it looks less than stellar, do not worry, we're going to clean it up. Where's my mirror? Using the camera as a mirror is not helpful. Not at all. Okay. And then I overdid it in my Cupid's bow. There we go. I'm gonna blot just a snatch. Just like that. And now I want to put on the color Frappuccino Blend. We're gonna pop this in the center. There we go. Just like that. I always overdo it. And we're just gonna take this guy, lightly clean that off. Then I'm gonna go back in and reline my lips. This is the only way I've discovered to do it that I like, but you can do it in whatever way you like to do it, but this is how I like to do it. And I feel like it gets the job done. And I like the way that these dry down. They dry down into like, they're like a soft, moussey matte finish. And it's so pretty. Just like that. And then I want to take a little bit of it on the back of my hand. Just a little bit. Because I want to pop some more on my top lip. Just like that. We'll be here all night messing with me, y'all, with this lip. There we go. And then the last thing is just some gloss. This is in the color Stargirl. Made by Mitchell has the best glosses. Them and Lawless, I think, have the best glosses. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you want a warm nude lip, this is one of my favorites. And when you're brown skin, when everybody's saying, "Ooh, it's a nude," no, it looks like concealer on my face. I don't want your nude. Your nude and my nude, not the same nude. And I need people to understand that. I like that a lot. Looking for my brush. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now, we're done. So, you need to melt all this down. Well, we're not done. I still got to put on highlighter. This is the One Size Powder Melt. I'm not going to lie. I really like this spray quite a bit, okay? And I ain't going to lie. I really like this powder. This powder has just given me life that I did not know I needed. Patrick, you wrong. Where that powder? You wrong for this. And you discontinued it? Why? Bruh. Okay. We're going to spray. There we go. Again, I like a dewy finish. If you don't like dewy, get the Danessa Myricks one. I love it in hotter weather. Or I'll use the Danessa Myricks to set and melt. And then use this for a little bit of dew afterwards. It depends on what you want, sis. It's all about you. It's your face. We're going to go in with some highlighter because around these parts, we highlight. I can't speak for you in your house, but in me and my house, we're gonna serve this highlighter. Hope y'all like that. This is Rare Beauty in Exhilarate. This is a very pretty gold. And she just, because silver is not gonna work over here. I don't got skin for silver highlighter. I'm gonna look crazy. Okay. I have too warm of undertones. I will look casket sharp. Oh, that's so pretty. And just tapping it into the blush. Now, If you don't want to use a highlighter, you say a highlighter is doing too much, I would heavily recommend the shimmery brushes from Rare Beauty. I have this one because I wear a lot of pink. Girl, she's the bomb. Just buffing her out. If I was going outside, I would put on some all-nighter spray, but just coming out a little. And that is the final look. I feel like she's cute. She's an intergalactic moment. At some point, I'm going to attempt to do stuff on my bottom lash line. I'm just not ready yet because every time I do it, I look crazy. So here we are. That's the final look. Hope you guys enjoy. Bye. Okay, I lied. I did do the bottom lash line. This was tough as somebody who has watery eyes and my one lash that just won't stay on. But, wow. Y'all gonna get quite a few videos with this look. She's cute. She's pretty. She is intergalactic. Yes. Yes for intergalactic. Mm-hmm.